Welcome. Uh, it's been a while since I did a class, but today's class is about Nullsec life and tips and tricks and stuff that I do on a daily basis. So, if you don't know me, I'm Serena Anderson. I've been living in Nullsec for the past 8 years, I think, from the 12 that I play EVE Online. I've been flying basically all over the map. I've been to, I think I started off in Providence, which is, if you look at the map, it's down south, and then I went to kind of a couple of regions around that, Immensia, Scalding Pass, and now I live all the way up north in Cloud Ring and Pure Blind area. Uh, so I've been places, seen a lot of things, done a lot of silly stuff that got me killed. Done a lot of good stuff as well, also. But so yeah, so I live in Cloud Ring at the moment. We got some, you know, space ownership and stuff there, which is really good. Which is basically like where we're gonna start off with. What is nullsec? I mean, if you play EVE Online, there's like a couple of hold on. There we go. We had somebody hot micing. Um, you got a couple of different types of space in EVE Online. Most of you start off in high sec, which is like the little bit safe-ish space. It's never safe in EVE Online because anyone can shoot you at any time, of course. But high sec is basically, where you start off in. Uh, After that, you got like low sec, which is anything below zero point 0.5 up until 0.1, I think. And you don't have any Concord there in low sec to help you, but the gate guns will shoot you, the stations will shoot you. So there's like a little bit of a security sense. And if you shoot somebody there, you'll get a standings drop. And if your standings drop too low, then you become a criminal in high sec, and then people can shoot you there. So, and then after that, you get low sec, and then if you think null sec, and then if you think null sec is boring, then you can always go into wormhole space, which is kind of I'd say the biggest dangerous wasteland in EVE Online. Really cool, but really difficult to live there. So I live in nullsec, which is basically like an area of space, kind of like lowsec, but there is no security at all. There's no gate guns that shoot at you. There's no station guns that shoot at you. Most of the time, there are no stations at all, actually. You can see that I'm docked at the moment, but I'm docked in a really cool player-owned structure, because most nullsec space has no NPC structures at all, actually. There are some, see, this is our nice Fortizar. There's a couple of other structures out there in the distance. There are some nullsec regions that do have NPC stations, but there aren't really a lot of them. Most of them are just like this. And you can own the space, which is something you also cannot do in any of the other spaces, actually, because you cannot I mean, you can live in wormhole space, you can claim a wormhole system as your own, but it's not officially, doesn't officially have your name on it. And if you look here in the top left corner, we see that Apocalypse Now, which is the alliance I'm part of, owns the solve. So how does that work? Well, basically, it's like a little flag planted in space. There are websites like .lan. Let me type that in Fleet in the chat. You can go to that website. You can type in any system in Eve. It'll show you like really cool details about which NPC stations there are, how many asteroid belts are in this system, all that kind of stuff. And if you type in a nullsec system, it will also show you who owns the system, who owned the system before that, etc. So you can get like a general history of space in that sense. And what does that do actually? You own it. So what can you do with it? Well, back in the past, uh, there was a little bit, the CCP changed the nullsec mechanics a little bit. But basically, what you can do is you can upgrade your space, and you can install like upgrades. Like you want more mining sites, then okay, then you install an upgrade to have specific new mining sites. Like for instance, if we look at the probe scanner, we have this really cool. Um, Let me just warp to this one. We can do that.
Probe
This
drive
really
active.
cool uh, Eugenite deposit, which you won't see anywhere else but in nullsec basically, because it's a nullsec upgrade for your space. And then this mining site spawns with let's see, I just walked in at range just to be safe. We'll talk about that later. And then you can look at, there's Arcanor that spawns here, some other stuff too. I think people have already mined it. But this is like kind of the thing. You can also install system upgrades that will give you these really nice Serpentis combat sites. So normally, nullsec system doesn't really come with that many combat sites to begin with. You'll have to install some upgrades. Also, um, you can also install your own jump gates. Really cool. They're called jump bridges. You can connect one jump bridge to another system, maybe 5, maybe 10 jumps away, and you can build your own gate network. So that's basically what nullsec is. So it's a pocket of
Warp drive
space,
active.
got your name on it. You decide which upgrades go into the system. You can do a whole range of really cool stuff. Um, so whenever I log in, there's a couple of things I do. First things first is I make sure I get into the what we call the standing fleet. Now, at the moment, I'm in my own fleet. This is not, the fleet I should be in, but because normally you live in your little pocket of space, but there's multiple groups of people that live in the region. So, Cloud Ring is, pretty big, and the adjacent um, the adjacent region is also really big, and you kind of live with your neighbors. We also have neighbors that don't like us, and they can come into our space and shoot us, and we can do the same, etc. But most of the times, you just live in like communities in nullsec. And then to group all these, oh, the upgrades you can do in nullsec. Yes, you can. The You're asking about routing sites. That basically these Serpentis sites. So if you don't install any upgrades, then you won't have as many as these. I'll just warp to a different system, and then you can
Warp
probably
drive
see that
active.
there's less or different sites there because we have a Serpentis Haven here, which is kind of it's not the most difficult, but it's almost the most difficult site to run. I will go to that in a little bit about whether or not people shoot each other when they meet each other in nullsec. I will. Um, so to kind of group these people together, we have like one big fleet that we all join. Let's see. Oh yeah, yeah. There's no Serpentis Haven here. Oh, there is one, but yeah. Okay. Well, there's you know uh, this one's upgraded as well, but it's all good. Um, So normally I just go to my fleet window. I go to find fleets, and there is a really cool Phoenix standing fleet here, which I am part of the Phoenix Coalition. Um, and then, everyone just joins that one. And then who is active in game. If you have any questions, you can just type that in the fleet chat. If you're in distress, if there's people attacking you, you can type that in there too. You'll also find, you know, uh, comms, etc. What voice comms, which you can use in the details of the standing fleet too. So that's basically what I do when when I log in. I just join that one straight away, and
Warp drive
then
active.
I'm good. That I can go about my thing. Um, what I also want to check is if I'm in the in the proper channels. We have a intelligence channel, which is this one at the moment. There's a big fleet coming up, but I'll have to skip that one for now. This intel channel is basically used to point out where we find enemy players. So I want to be in that because I can see here there's somebody that's been reported here. You see if I click on his name, he has a bad standing towards my alliance, so he's like a potential threat. And then they also link the system he's in. Then I can just click on that and check. Okay, well he's like 5 jumps out, or he's 10 jumps out, or he's 2 jumps out, and I can kind of get a feeling of if there's a real potential threat around me. And then if you look over here, this person got reported in here in this system, and then afterwards when he left, the person that saw him, he just says, "Okay, system is clear again." So that means that there's no enemies anymore in that system, so you can kind of let go of that. So that's so to speak. And it list just goes on and on. That is completely correct. That is the Dotlan or the solve map. I don't think I have it on Dotlan, but that is the solve map, and that is where I live indeed. And then if you look at that map, then you can see that the Imperium is up top there, um, which is our enemy. Above that is Fraternity or Pandafam, I think. And I think below us is Init. So we're kind of smudged in between a couple of nasty, well, I don't want to say nasty people. They play their game, we're smudged in between a couple of enemies. Nobody's really nasty in Evil Online. But some people are, but most of them aren't. Um, so yeah, this is basically, the Intel channel. We can just check that. I want to be in that channel for, defensive reasons. And if I see someone, say for instance, well now there's nobody in there, but if I see someone, then it's like, okay, this guy, and then I just drag the name of the system in there, drag the name of the pilot in there, and then I just say maybe which ship he's in. I say he's in a Legion, or when I don't really know which ship he is in, then I say NV, which stands for no visual. And then I just press enter, and then everyone knows that this guy is here and we don't like him, etc. But of course, that guy is me, so we don't want to report him. Yeah, so that's basically, startup of the day, or of the day, whatever, when I log in. Also, what I always have here is all of my bookmarks. We got quite a decent list of bookmarks all around. For instance, there's a bookmark, right above this gate. So if I
Warp
want to
drive
check
active.
if there's enemies at that gate, but I don't really want to, warp directly to the gate because that could, mean that could kill me. Then I just warp to this really cool bookmark that somebody else made. It's in the APOG bookmarks folder. You can make these kind of bookmark folders and then you can share them with other people. And then, yeah, see, I just landed like 200 kilometers above the gate and I'm, you know, pretty safe to check if there's enemies there. And there's nobody there, then I can warp to that gate and I can go about my business. Um, let's see, I am going to warp back to there.
Warp
So
drive
that's kind of,
active.
um, you know, the 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 startup. So dangers. Yeah, as somebody has already asked, other people. How does that work? Well, if you can see, all of these people in here are at the moment they're all blue. Uh, if I click on them, you can just you can go to the standings tab. You can set people as like that you like them. So, for instance, he has a plus 10 standing, which means you're extra good friends with them. This person is from a different alliance, but we still, that they still fly in this space. We still, we like them. We have like friendly relations with these people. And the plus 5, that's also like, friendly. So that's like kind of the difference. And then, this guy's purple. It's because he's in my fleet. So there's different color tags for different status situations. And then if people are really like enemy to us, then of course you go into these people. Like if I think this one is, yeah, this one's -5, and then maybe I don't know if I have a. Oh yeah, this is also cool. This is somebody that has no standings, which is, you know, we cannot list we can't list everyone or give everyone standings because there's a max to that. And some people we don't know yet, or some people that haven't attacked us yet. So for the, safety purposes, we kind of assume that they are hostile, so we link them in the intel channels because, we don't know them yet. Uh, they might not shoot us, but people will definitely shoot them. Basically, anyone that is not like blue or in our fleets, all those people get reported into intel, and they're like valid targets or enemy players, so you can expect them to go and do something. So that's kind of uh, the answer to the question, as like we don't shoot the blue people because they're friendly. Um, and in high sec, most of the people, if you're just still in your NPC corporation, like all of the other guys in the NPC corporation, they're green to you, but they could, in theory, still shoot you. I mean, in Nullsec, blue people can still shoot blue people, and that happens too. But then it's mostly like a spy that has infiltrated a corporation that's blue with us, and then they, just for the sake of trying to get kills, they just kill their, friends, quote unquote. But most of the times, blue people won't shoot blue people, so we're all friendly to each other, and we won't do that. Indeed, it is we call it, thank you for pointing that out, it is indeed the not blue shoot it rule. There's different rulings for different situations and different alliances. There is also a NRDS rule, which means not red, don't shoot. So that is, you also don't shoot the neutral people. You only shoot people that are really red to you. You also have some fleets, PvP fleets, that go up in the sense of NPSI, and that means not purple, shoot it. So, if you're then in your fleet with the rest of the people, they're all purple, and that means that you don't shoot the purple people, but you shoot anything else. It's a thing. If you want to do that, that's all good. You might get, diplomatic incidents while doing that, because if you shoot blues, it's still a little bit frowned upon, but, if you're all good with that, then, and if the other people are good with that, then, go ahead, just do it. Um, Other dangers, I mean, in high sec, you, of course, have like, uh, people that, you know, uh, that try and AWOC people, or like gang people, like if you're just mining about in your little retriever or your whatever that you care to mine in, and then three catalysts jump in and they shoot you. That's, iffy. That's a danger. Low sec kind of mostly has like the gate camps. If you go from high sec to low sec, and there'll be a couple people waiting there, and they'll shoot you, which it's valid. Sometimes they even have like these smart bomb ships there, so then if you just fly through with your shuttle and you get hit by a smart bomb, then poof, poof, gone shuttle and mostly a pod too. In Nullsec, we kind of have all of those things, but we also have something kind of a little bit like this. So, for instance, I'm gonna warp, say the hypothetical situation, I'm warping to a gate right now. So I'm warping to this gate. I'm like, okay, this is gonna be a great day. I'm gonna grab I'm in my I'm in my hauling ship. I'm gonna grab some ore. I'm gonna grab some modules, and I'm gonna build some stuff, make some cool ISK. And then, oh, what's this? And then, this strange bubble thing. And then, oh no, this ain't good. I want to get out of here. So you just randomly click something, and then, oh, I can't get out. So this is kind of what we call a warp disruption sphere, which you can only anchor in, or you can only use this in nullsec or wormhole space. And the variant sizes. I used a couple of anchorable warp disruption spheres, so I have a very large one. This is the largest one as they get, and then a medium one and a small one, so you can kind of see the size difference there. Um, and then we also have the mobile version of it. There's a really cool destroyer here called a Saber, which is an interdiction destroyer, which is basically what it does is it has what we call them bubbles. So for the sake of keeping in nullsec terminology, it fires bubbles. It has like a tube launcher with three of these bubbles in it, and it can just drop out three of them, and then it has to reload, and that takes a little bit of time. But it just moves along, gets three of these bubbles out, and now you have like a column of death, basically. So if there's people in here, you need to fly outside of this thing, which I'm going to do now, before you can warp off again. So these are kind of different. So these deployable bubbles, they last like a day, maybe or longer. I think the big one even lasts a week, I think. And these are probes, and they last a little bit less. I think maybe just a couple of minutes, and then they just evaporate again. Warp core stabilizers do not counter the effects of that thing, sadly. Warp core stabilizers only negate the targeted warp disruptors and warp scramblers, but there is a really cool other thing that you can put on your ship and that'll work. So as you can see, we've flown out of this bubble. We can, however, just warp to a different. Yeah, well, I've got a bookmark right here. Is that is too close? So I need to fly a little bit better. Um, no, sadly also not. So if you are the pilot of this Saber, you are not immune to your own bubbles, so you're stuck in them as well. But that's kind of your job to deploy the bubbles as fast as you can and keep flying, and then you eventually, you're that fast because this destroyer is going at 3 kilometers a second, or kind of that's its top speed, which is pretty darn fast for a destroyer, I'd say. You can still get run down by a frigate, but that's kind of it. And yeah, as you can see, the probes have already evaporated again. But if you fly that Saber, you just keep on flying, drop all of these nasty bubbles, and keep flying and fly out and warp off, reposition, reload, go back, do the same thing again. Um, We have flown out of this bubble and we have enough. Re uh, I'll just I'll just warp to him first. So the thing is, you can like kind of warp around these things, uh, because if you fly in at an angle, um, like if I, for instance, I'm gonna warp to this one. Like not now this entire pile of nonsense is right in front of me, but I can warp there, I can just warp to that space because it's like in an angle off. There's nothing, I'm not colliding with any of these bubbles. I can just warp that. That's cool. But if I now want to go to the other side, so I want to go here, and I'm all the way there. I can't do that because the stuff is in the way, you know. You can't fly right through it. They have a cool thing for that though, which is called a interdiction nullifier, which kind of works in the sense is that your um, warp core stabilizer would work, but then you're briefly um, invulnerable for all of this bubble nonsense, um, and then I can warp to it. So I'm just gonna turn this thing on. It's gonna cycle once, and then it has to recharge again. But now I can just warp to it, and I'm just gonna fly through all of this stuff, and nothing happens. And that's also like if you land in one of these things, uh, you can quickly click that one and warp off again. You can also just click it before you warp and then just fly through all of these bubbles just like I did now, and then you just land on the gate, use the gate, etc. Um, I'm going to show you one other thing that you need to um, no, that it's kind of like if you turn on this device and you click warp. At that point, the game calculates that, okay, you've got this module working, you've clicked warp, and then it'll calculate that you'll just land behind the bubble at the gate. If you do it the other way around and you click warp and then click this nullifier, then you're still gonna land in the bubble. So the thing needs to be active, and then you need to warp, and it doesn't really matter, if this thing because the time that it runs is really short, It doesn't really matter if it has already done a cycle while you're in warp. It's just you need to warp in the time that, the cycle is. I am going to quickly warp back to this station. I'm going to show you just the last potential threat of what this thing also does is because, say for instance, you know that, or you know that this thing is at a gate. And you think, okay, it's cool. So there's somebody has put up one of those bubbles on a gate, and I want to check out who that is. So I'm gonna right-click the gate, and I'm gonna warp in at, yeah, I'm gonna warp in at 100, because that'll be safe. So you say, warp back at 100 kilometers. You fly there, and then you think, okay, cool, I'm gonna scout these guys out, I'm gonna give the intel to my folks, and then they'll wreck their shit, and then, oh, what's this? Well, that's not, I didn't land at 100, so what does that do? So these bubbles are basically designed in a way as that if you warp in their area, so, this bubble's kind of big, so if I would have warped to this spot or this spot right here or anywhere that is in a general direction of where this thing is, maybe even behind it, if I would have wanted to warp behind it, I would have I'm getting caught in this thing. It kind of sucks you in. And even if you warp in at 100 kilometers, it'll just, gonna drag you in there and gonna put you in that bubble, and then most of the time there's people waiting here, they're camping, there's good form of gameplay, because then the enemy comes to you and they land here and they'll probably put up a couple other bubbles around you with, with the uh, with the saber, and then so then the saber warps to you,
Warp
and
drive
then
active.
it'll just poof, pop out, more bubbles, more bubbles, and then now you're all in the middle of it, and it'll just it's gonna, there we go, and now now you're dead. Now it's just gonna orbit around you or whatever, and then it'll shoot you and die, and you'll die. But that's kind of how this works. So this is the most uh, the biggest danger in nullsec and wormhole space. But yeah, and if you want to get out of here, then tap that module and then just warp to something. I'm just warping to
Warp drive
something at the moment.
active.
I don't even know what. But I can warp out. See, the thing is already, cycle was already done, but I was still warping out because that's just how it works. Click the thing, warp off, the game decides, okay, you got the thing running, you're warping off to somewhere, and off you go. Um, Scout a gate, well, you warp to one of those bookmarks, or you um, warp in at 100 with that module on, and then you won't get sucked in either. You can warp in cloaked if you've got a ship that can, this one, uh,
Warp drive
you can
active.
warp in a cloaked state with this ship, so that's really cool. If you got that, then you should definitely do that. Um, but yeah, probably, if you only press the cloak thing and not the nullifier module, you're still gonna get sucked into the bubble, and then hopefully you'll stay cloaked, but potentially you can also just get decloaked by a ship that's there, or a drone, or maybe there's a container there that acts as a decloaking unit, something like that. So it's kind of, scouting is iffy. There is also, like I've shown you this module. The safest
Docking
thing,
request
however,
accepted.
to travel through nullsec is like use that, these modules, these interdictor um, nullifying devices, or just use a shuttle, because shuttle looks kind of like you live in nullsec and you got like a variety of really badass ships, and then why would you use a shuttle, but I'm going to show you why, because let's just say, for instance, that I'm gonna position my other guy in the fleet. I'm gonna put him behind the bubble so you can see um, what I'm trying to do. All of these shuttles, if you go to the oh, that was not supposed to happen. If you go to the info page, and then I think, yeah, there it is. The roll bonus is immune to all of these warp disruption, field generators, mobile uh, disruption stuff, all of that. It's immune to it. So you don't even have to have one of those interdiction nullifier um, devices. You can just fly right through it.
Warp
So
drive
this shuttle's
active.
just gonna fly to my buddy, and as you can see, I'm gonna fly straight through all of these bubbles, no problem, and just land on the other end. You see? There we go. Like it wasn't even there. And then if I want to go back, I just, big bubbles in my way. Shuttle doesn't
Warp
care.
drive
Shuttle just
active.
goes, and off we go again. So shuttles are the best transportation through nullsec. You won't have as much of those smart bomb gate camps in nullsec, basically, because imagine like 100 people active at the same time in the same region. But it'll be more because there's loads of people. There's like 500 people online at the moment here. But say it's like 100, so there's like 100 people in your standing fleet which you're in, um, and somebody puts into the intel channel like 5 names, 1 system, and says smart bomb ships. Okay, well then a couple of those sabers will come in and bubble the smart bomb ships. Probably the saber will die because of the smart bombs, but then the other dudes, they won't be able to get out of the bubbles because most of the time, like, you've got smart bomb battleships most of the time, which deal the real damage. Um, and then other people drop in with longer range weapons and just shoot them. It's a little bit different than low sec because then the smart bombers can just warp off, and tackle most of the tackle ships. If you got like a T2 warp disruptor or something, you need to be close range, right? You need to be like 24 kilometers. Maybe, if you have other ships, you can go up to 60 kilometers, I know, but um, and you don't need to have that in Null. You just throw a couple bubbles on them, and that's it, and they're gonna die horribly. So the smart bombing is not really a thing, uh, like for people coming in. Like if you are going into somebody's space, yeah, then maybe somebody decided to set up a really nice gate camp with a couple of these bubbles and a couple smart bomb ships, and they would have notified all of their friends and all their blue people, like, don't go to our system today, because just don't. And they'll communicate that in the standing fleet, say, don't go through this gate because you'll get blown up. Stuff like that. You can do that. Um, is there a bubble with warp disruption points? Well, you don't really need to have warp disruption points actually, because the bubble itself is a big ass area of denial to warp off actually. Um, so it's you do have the same, like the Saber can use probes that also act as an area of webbing effect. Really cool if you got one of those interdictors that places warp disruption sphere, and then the other one does one of those webifier spheres, and then people fly slower and they are trapped in and won't be able to warp out. So that, you can add stuff like that. It's really cool. So traveling to Nullsec, either just take a shuttle or something else that has one of those interdiction nullifiers, which can be uh, like for instance, an interceptor frigate, which is this is one of it. It's a T2 frigate. This is the Amar one, and it of course also has a where is it? Interdiction nullifier. So that works. If you got hauler ships like the one that I used earlier, that one has it. This crane has it too. This is also a cloaky hauler. Um, I think I've got one
Docking
in here
request
too. That's a different
accepted.
one that has it too. And then of course, covered up ships like the T2 scanning ships. Really cool to use, by the way. So if you're really into scanning and exploring and all that kind of stuff, then I encourage you to, train a little bit into one of the T2 ships. One of the a buzzard or a cheetah or whatever. That all goes, um, and you can just use the nullifiers on those too. They're really great ships to fly. Really satisfactory to own one too. Um, and they can also warp cloaked, so it's best of both worlds actually. And for instance, this little beauty here is a Tech 2 um, hauler, like a deep space transport, which has a really big fleet hangar that you can fill up, and that can use interdiction nullifiers too. So there's like a couple of different ship types that can use them. You won't be able to slap this thing on anything, but it'll work on most really cool stuff. Um, so, uh, we've gone through how to start up your day. We've gone through, a couple of important things, be in your Intel channel, be in your standing fleet, all that stuff. Make sure you got those nice bookmarks going for you that you can warp to certain places. So now I want to do stuff. So now I want to mine. So how does that go? Nullsec kind of has uh, not all Nullsec has asteroid
Warp
belts.
drive
Cloud Ring
active.
has asteroid belts, which is really cool. CCP decreased the ore volumes in Nullsec a couple years back, and that basically meant that some regions didn't even have a lot of ore to begin with, and because they decreased
Docking
the
request
volume,
accepted.
uh, they don't have asteroid belts anymore, or they have asteroid belts but they're empty, or something like that, which is sad, of course. But luckily, we have asteroid belts here. We own moons. I will show you one in a little bit and tell you how that works too quickly. And we have mining anomalies that we can warp to. We can, there's normal mining anomalies like one of them I've already shown, but we'll show you another one. And we have ice too. So not all nullsec systems have an ice belt, but this one has. So what do I do when I want to mine? So I'll mostly mine with 4 characters, but I'll do 2 for now. Um, I'll just take out a mining ship. My buddy is in a mining ship at the moment. Most of the times I just pick a booster ship, and booster ships kind of uh, differ in size too. Do I have the yeah? So it starts off with this one. This is the Porpoise. It's the smallest of the mining booster ships. Really cool ship, really fast as well to warp around in. It uses these really cool mining foreman bursts, which like project an area of effect, which is like a bonus. I'll show you that in a little bit. Um, you can use that. Really cool. Step up from that is of course the Orca. You probably, if you live in high sec, then you've already seen somebody in a porpoise. You've seen where's my Orca? You'll most likely also have already seen somebody in an Orca. Orca kind of works in the same way. It is a little bit bigger. It's a little bit bulkier. You can, however, get it to warp off in 10 seconds. Uh, that's really cool. And then step up from there is the biggest one, the Rorqual. Really cool piece of machinery. Terribly slow, although you can also warp off in 10 seconds with it if you know how. It's kind of the, just whatever you want to use for the job. I don't really use the Rorqual for on-grid mining a whole lot, because it's an expensive ship. Loads of stuff can go wrong. Other people can fly in, of course. They'll probably see it, and it's a vulnerable target. And they'll drop on it, and you'll lose it. Just how it is. People can also gank your Orca in high sec, of course, but it's kind of well. But we're going with the Orca, and we are going with a mining ship, and I'm going to show you a couple of mining sites uh, that you can mine. There is a question in the chat. Can I cloak in a bubble? You sure can. That's also a really cool tactic. You have your interdictor destroyer, and you can just cloak it up. You can bubble and then cloak up your ship, and then they see the bubble, but they don't see you yet. Kind of surprise effect. Or you have a couple of these anchored bubbles, and you just cloak up all of your ships. There are multiple ships that can Actually, every ship can cloak, actually. But most of the times it'll be maybe a Saber, maybe a couple of Tech 3 cruisers like a Tengu or a Legion or whatever. They can fit covert ops cloaks too fine. So we got so we're gonna start mining today. So I'm looking at a local channel. There's no reds in here, which is good. We don't want to mine when there's enemy players in there. You can check the intel channels. Uh, you know, check if there's people around or something. There's loads of stuff going on at the moment, but you know, okay, there's people here, but that was 10 minutes ago. Just do a sensible check. If you're flying the Orca, you don't have to, know that it's safe. So we know it's safe, all good. So, a couple of things we can do. We got our asteroid belts here, so just pick one. Um, Fun fact is though, if there are people that are gonna come in here in this system, and it's like a fleet of people, like 10 of them, I don't know. And you're in the top belt or the bottom belt, like these people, these fleets, they send out people ahead of time that scout certain systems, and then the fleet is like two jumps behind them or something. They'll probably go for the top or the bottom belt, and they'll just check them, something like that. So be sensible, pick like a middle one or something, or whatever, just a little bit from the middle. So we're just gonna warp the fleet, and I'm gonna show you a really cool trick with the Orca. Orca's dead slow, of course. If you look at um, it's got like 36-second align time, but I'm gonna teach you a trick. Put one of these 500 mn micro warp drives on it, give it one cycle, decycle it, and it'll warp off in 10 seconds. Because that's the time the cycle needs to end. So we're going to warp the fleet just smack in the middle.
Warp
We're going to
drive
activate that.
active.
You see, we're going to activate the micro warp drive, red cycle it again. This thing is, like you think it's not going to go, but poof, there it goes. That's a trick I learned you guys today. Questions in the chat. You have doubt when you mine. Oh, that. You can actually sell the stuff in Nullsec, because if you, for instance, these structures like this Fortizar, because you own them, you can upgrade them too. And for instance, this one, if you look at the services, we fitted a market module to it. And yes, it is just a module. You can fit this thing up like a ship. It has guns, low slots, high slots, mid slots. You can put rigs in it, and service slots. So it has a market and a clone bay. So you can put a clone there. You can make market orders there. So you can sell it here. You can sell all your stuff here. That's really cool. And if you're on your alliance or corporation or coalition Discord, there will be market channels there too, And then, so we've jumped to this asteroid belt, and then the first thing we see is bigger rats than usual. Uh, you know, Battleship spawns, because that's what the NPCs are in nullsec belts. And now they're shooting my mining ship, which, of course. So you can just, you know, use the drones on the mining ship to kind of attack them, and then you can use the Orca to shoot down the bigger ones if you want. The Orca's a little bit slower with um, targeting, but this is kind of how it goes. You warp in, there will most likely always be these bigger ships first that you need to destroy before you can. I'm going to put my hardliners on because that's the safe way to go about it. And I turn on one of the shield command bursts. That means that all of my ships have more shield. So, and as you can see, I'm just slowly chomping up these NPCs. And as you can see here, my guy is completely fine at the moment. So he's even helping to shoot the stuff too. There we go. Yeah, that's gonna kind of gonna be it. Um, oh, a really good question there. Is there a delay between entering a system, where people entering a system and then when their names are shown? No, it's like kind of instant. The only space where this does not happen is wormhole space, where you will never see anybody in the local chat channel. That's why my local channel is always up top here and not here, because most of the time I'm just switching between chats here, chatting with people. But I always want to have this one visible, because if somebody pops in, a red player, then you'll see it. You'll see it there. Sometimes, however, CCP patches the game or brings out an update and something's wrong, and then the chat channels are a little bit iffy, and then you can see no enemies on one client, and then you go to your other client, like because I'm playing with two accounts at the moment. So you go to this guy, and you look there, and you look in the local channel there, and there's like, oh no, there's 10 reds in system. So sometimes the game is messed up, but that they'll always patch that again, and they'll fix it. So at the moment, we we killed all these rats, as we call them. We call them rats. NPC rats. Now we can mine stuff. So what is there to mine here? There is, ooh, that's quite. There's, that this is not really, it's cool. It's not the best. Uh, Pyroxeras, not really valuable, but this is what's in this belt at the moment. And I'll just turn on my mining foreman bursts, which give really cool bonus. But at the moment, do I have any? Nah, I don't have any implants in. It can be better. You can improve these stats with implants too. Normally I have implants in. At the moment I have not, but doesn't really matter. This kind of increases your mining range and the duration of it. It decreases the duration of the mining module. So that's really cool. So that means you can mine rocks further away, and it takes less time to get stuff in. So I can happily target these rocks at, uh, oh wait, let's see. There we go. I can happily target this rock here at like, this is 26 kilometers. I'm using this is a Mackinac. There's a couple of different versions of mining ships, of course. The Mackinac is the T2 version of the Retriever, which means that it has the biggest ore hold capacity of all of the normal, mining barges out there. I think at the moment, how much ore can I put in this thing? It is about 44,000 M3, so that's a whole lot. And then if you also drop the stuff in the Orca, Uh, you know, oh, I already have stuff in my Orca. I should drop that stuff off because that's really um, valuable, actually. But the Orca has like 100, almost 190 thousand M3, so that's really cool. You can kind of use this. Oh, that one's full too. I haven't done my job. Um, you can kind of use this fleet hanger. You can disable or enable access to your fleet to use the fleet hanger, and then if you're close to the Orca, like 2,500 yeah, 2,500 meters, you can just right click the Orca, open the fleet hanger, and then the other mining ship, that's mining right now, it's mined a couple stuff, and it's just gonna drop that stuff off in here. As you can see, mine some of the Pyroxeras. You can drop it in the Orca, and then the Orca can drop it in the mining bay, and then you can just go on, you know? You can just keep on going. Um, so that's kind of the mining. Is a porpoise recommended for new players to mine in Nullsec? Um, the porpoise itself, the porpoise or the orca doesn't really mine a whole lot because you can't really put mining lasers on them. I mean, you can use mining drones. Mining drones are, you know, kind of okay. On the orca, you can, if you go into the fitting window, you can use these really cool rigs, mining drone augmenters. Really cool. You can use those on the porpoise too, but they don't really do a whole lot. Or you mean it does something, but mining ship is better. So if you if you really want to mine and you're a solo player, you can use the Procure. But most of the time, like as I said, if you don't really live in the space with people that are friendly with you, then people will report you in the Intel channel. They will start hunting you. So if you go in there with a mining barge, which is kind of bulky, a little bit slowish, you won't be able to get out really quickly. You'll get caught in one of those bubbles, and you know, sad day. So if you really want to mine in Nullsec and you don't live there, use a Venture. Try and do that. The T2 versions of the Venture, really cool too. For instance, the Prospect. Here we go. I'll show that one to you. This is a really cool ship for you to do that too. Requires a little bit of training, but this thing can fit a Covert Ops cloak as well, which means that it can warp off cloaked. Really cool. So if you get caught in one of those bubbles and you are cloaked still, you can just slowly move out of the bubble, unseen, warp off, and you live another day. So this is really good. If this one can't really fit any drones. If you really want to use drones, you can go for the Endurance, which is the other version. Also, really cool ship. It only has one laser it can use. It can use drones, but it won't be able to fly cloaked. It does have like a reduction to cloaking devices, but it cannot fit a covert ops cloaking device. But still, two really good options for you if you want to mine in nullsec and you don't live there and you want to come out alive. But then again, you just saw the big spawn. You'll have to be lucky to not get one of those spawns because you won't be able to kill the battleships with endurance. Fun fact: these um, mining bursts, they kind of give me a weapons aggression timer, which means that if I warp off back to my station now, I won't be able to dock. So if somebody comes in here, a red player, and you want to warp off, always red cycle these things, turn them off, and then you can just warp to your safe spot, which is, where's my safe spot? Uh, yeah, here's my safe spot. I'll just warp the fleet back there.
Warp drive active.
Gonna use that micro warp drive trick again, and then I think I'm gonna warp off at almost the same time as my mining barge, which is, good. There we go. Yeah, he goes first and then I follow straight afterwards. That's cool. So that's kind of mining. Um, I will grab a little bit of a faster ship so that I can show you the other, like the mining anomaly and the mining station, the Athenor. That kind of is a really cool mechanic if you've never seen it before. Um, it's like a structure you put on a moon, like a big planet, a moon, and then it fires a really big, gigantic mining laser at the moon and blows off a chunk and then pulls it in with a tractor beam. That's really, really cool. I can show you one that is pulling in something at the moment. So I'm
Docking
just going to
request
dock up the Orca
accepted.
because that is a little bit
Docking
easier
request
to
accepted.
move around in. Let's see. Yeah, I'll just yeah, let me just go with something safe. You know, you always want to be safe. We'll take one of those cloaky scanning ships. My favorite is the buzzard, by the way, because it's the Caldari one, but I like the cheetah one very much too. Um, let's see. We are going to yeah, I'm going to show you one of these too. Um, so there's like mining stuff pitched in with all of these other things. Most likely these cosmic signatures that haven't been scanned down or aren't visible or either wormholes or data relic sites, etc. These are of course your I'll show you one of these too in a little bit. We're gonna go to this one. I'm just gonna warp at 100
Warp drive active.
to this blue ice belt because I don't know if there's any enemies there. You know, we can just fly. That was it. That was iffy. Was a game bug. Um, you can just fly cloak. You see, really nice ice visuals in here. Somebody has already been mining here and left their ice harvesting drones. That's sad. Um, I'll probably I know whose ice drones these are. There's nobody here. I'll just fly there. It'll take me a minute, but I'll explain some stuff in the meanwhile. So this is like an ice belt. It's kind of the same as high sec or low sec ice belts, but I think if you look at the overview, you get the thick blue ice that spawns, which is the um, the highest concentrated ice of that type that spawns here. And then you got some other stuff, glare crust, gelitis, and dark glitter, which is dark glitter are these dark ones, obviously as the name says so, of course. But these are the in terms of ice, this is the most valuable stuff to mine. So really good stuff, and kind of all of them have their own visual style, basically. They all kind of look a little bit different. Um, and you can just mine all this stuff. You will get spawns of enemies too sometimes, um, but you can just deal with them. Of course, it is, however, risky to mine here because enemies can also just warp to this thing, and they'll if they use the D-scan, which at the moment doesn't show anything, but if you press the scan button, it sometimes it shows um, ships. Doesn't really show how far away they are sometimes, but you will be able to warp from here. But then if they see like, oh, there's like an orca and there's like 10 barges, maybe they are mining at the ice belt, and then they warp to the ice belt, and then you get let me just scoop these in. We're going to return these to their rightful owner. That's cool. Um, so yeah, you don't really want to warp. That this is the warp in spot for the this little green thingy. This is if you warp to the ice belt, you land over there. So what do you want to do? You want to mine over there because then you're at least like 40-ish or 50 kilometers from the initial warp in spot, the initial spawn. So you just right click that rock and you say save location, ice or call it whatever. And then you just warp off and warp back to that rock, and then you are safer than before you were then, mining at that spot. So that's really cool. Uh, Another tip there. Same goes basically with these other mining anomalies. We're gonna warp to that one.
Warp drive
because we've already
active.
shown that one. So we're going to warp to the small Arcanor and Bistot site. It kind of varies which ones are available. If somebody mines out a complete mining anomaly, it's gone. It'll disappear from the list. Kind of like the same as if you complete one of these sites, these combat sites, then they disappear from the list too. We have warped into oh, see, that's also a danger. Like the mining belts, they kind of like we saw, they spawned a couple, two battleships, couple destroyers, all good. Here, this is like a miniature, full-on combat site that spawns. So there's like all of these missile batteries. There's a really big um, drone battleship flying around here. Really cool visuals, by the way. Um, and if you start shooting all of this, there'll be more ships that spawn, and it'll give you a proper small mini combat site. And before you can even try and oh, somebody's already mined this one too. But before you can even mine all of this Arcanor or this, Bistal. Really cool stuff. Uh, Quite decent in value too, actually. It's not the best stuff to mine out there, but there's nothing wrong with doing this. So yeah, so you'll have to clear all of that first, and then you can mine it. So what you want to do is you'll warp in a combat ship, like an NPC combating mission running ship, and shoot all of this stuff, and then you come back. So let me double check if let's see, is the structure that I want to go to, is it here? Um, yeah. Yep. I think it is. Let's see. No, where is it? Oh, it's not here. Then is it? Oh, then there's probably one. Yeah, we'll just go to this one. So third thing about
Warp drive
mining in
active.
Nullsec, of course, you can also uh, use Athanors like this little thing in high sec and low sec 2, wormhole space 2. This is kind of a mining station, if you want to call it that way. Um, you've got two sizes of this. This is the smaller one, but you also have like a really big one. And what they do is it, yeah, it's kind of just going to fly in a little bit more into tether range. So this is what it does actually. So as you can see, it has blasted a really big chunk off that moon. So there's like, fire and burning and stuff going on there that blasted a hole into that moon. And it's been slowly pulling in this big old chunk. That's basically, just all rocks and debris and stuff like that into this really big, tractor beamish like thing. And then when the time is right, when it's being pulled in close enough to the station, um, there's like a big ass gun over here too. This one. That's gonna fire onto that chunk, and it's gonna blast it into a million pieces, and it's gonna create your own mining belt, actually. Um, and this is a really, I think this is the moons also vary in the ore that they deliver, of course. There's different types and different uh, gradations in value and stuff like that. I think this is one of the higher end um, ore that you can mine. I think the stuff that was in my orca, you know, just a minute ago, the Xenotime. I think that came from this moon. So that's really good stuff. You can reprocess that and sell it for really good price, um, or you can use it to build stuff. So that's kind of the three things you can do mining wise. So you can go to the asteroid belts, you can go to the ore or ice anomalies, uh, or you can go to one of the moons. And one of the other things that you saw, I'm going to fly to one right now, is a new thing that
Warp drive
CCP
active.
introduced not too long ago. This is, the Athanor is like a manually operated piece of machinery. You set the time, so it has to pull the chunk for say 2 weeks. It'll blast off a portion of the moon. You'll have to wait 2 weeks before you can mine it, and then you have to mine everything yourself. Of course, you have to get out your mining ships and your orca and whatever, um, and then you can mine it. This thing is new. It is called a Metnox moon drill. Looks pretty cool too, and it kind of mines the moon on its own. So it just has a cargo bay. You can just open the cargo bay of the thing and scoop up the ore that it has mined. It mines 24/7, all month, all year, as long as you put the necessary fuel in it. Each structure that you put up in space, you need to put fuel blocks in it, stuff like that. So if there's enough fuel blocks in it, it's going to run indefinitely, pulling chunks of the moon, sucking stuff in. So that's really good. So that's another thing that can be in Nullsec. I see a really
Warp
cool
drive active.
question in the chat. Do you own the space up to high sec for hauling? Frankly, at the moment, we do. I think if I want to go to high sec, I can go to Torinos. And let's see if I
Docking request
set the route to
accepted.
Torinos. This is really cool. It goes all the way through Nullsec that is owned by friends. Um, so all of this, if the screen comes back, all of this is owned by our buddies. So for instance, this system, ECTAC P, is owned by Bandalogs Alliance, and Bandalogs Alliance is, see, it's blue. So Bandalog's really cool guys, awesome people. And then FTech N is owned by Synergy of Steel, really good guys too. Really cool. So it's kind of all this space is, divided up between all of our coalition partners and friends. And then I'm in high sec, so that's really cool. So all of the this system though, the EC tax system is always kind of iffy because there is a gate between Torinos and ECTAC, and that gate gets camped as well, and not always by friendly people, because it's nullsec, so you can just put some bubbles there and start gate camping. That's all good, valid gameplay, all good. How many people can one system support? Um, you can basically, yeah, it's a little bit technical. Um, EVE Online works on nodes, so nodes like server nodes. So and the nodes kind of try and balance out the all of the people in EVE. So for instance, people are all scattered about in high sec and low sec and null sec. So they'll have, I don't know, 100 nodes for there and 100 nodes for there, etc. So sometimes when there's a really big amount of people fighting in one system, say 1,000, say 2,000. I mean, that's quite a decent amount of people. Then the hardware node cannot uh, process all of the interactions from all the players. People are shooting stuff, all of the logs are being created, effects go off, people flying in space, puts a major strain on the server. So what the game does, it puts the game in a kind of delayed mode, like a bullet time mode. So it kind of delays each and every effect in the game like warping off, targeting stuff, shooting people. You know, you'll still fly at the same speed. If you're flying at 1,000 meters a second, you're gonna keep flying 1,000 meters a second. But the command that you give to stop will come in at a delayed pace, and that's the way the game balances out the server load. But basically, oh, ores and rats. Yeah, you know, if you complete one of those ore sites, those ore anomalies, I think it'll take a little bit of time, maybe an hour, maybe 2 hours, and then it spawns back again. Um, so that's really cool. So you can basically go and mine indefinitely. You'll have to wait a little bit before the ore comes back. If you mine out the asteroid belts, they'll respawn as well after downtime. Um, the Athenors with their man-made asteroid belts, there's millions and millions of cubic, millions and millions of M3's worth of ore in there, so you can mine with a lot of people there too. But if that's depleted, you need to pull a new chunk and blow that up again. And the combat sites, they respawn pretty quickly too, actually. So you complete the combat site, and then a new one will spawn a little time afterwards, and you can just keep going and going and going. But that there is a limit. I don't know what the limit is, but if you're doing combat sites with 50 people at the same time, it's going to be really boring because most of them are going to be gone really quickly. Uh, you know, um, yeah, probably 100 people at the same time doing stuff in the system would suffocate the system, yeah. But yeah, well, but most of the times, like an alliance has multiple systems, so you can kind of. I think APOC has 500-600 people spread out about. How many are there in the? How many are there here? Yes, one, two. So they're spread out about here. So kind of decent, and we can rat and mine in other people's systems too. If we'll have there's like a list of systems that we can go. We have agreements with other people too. Like, okay, yeah, you can mine and rat in our system, and we can rat in yours, and we can kind of balance it out. But yeah, I mean, if it gets too crowded, then yeah, it's gonna affect everyone's income basically. But yeah. We're quickly gonna go on because we're getting overtime a little bit, but I don't really mind if you don't mind either. We're gonna go on with a combat site. I have like a little bit of for me, a standard go-to PvE combat ship, which is the Ishtar. Um, I'll show you the fitting. Oh, see, we have a neutral in system, so that's a good opportunity to show you that no visual. That's how we report those people. And we're pressing the D scan, and nope, we won't. We don't see what he's in. So he might be in a cloaky ship. So I don't know. We're going to talk about this ship here. So the Ishtar. It is the bigger brother of the Vexor. Um, Local threats. No, I tend to not engage with people because if I tell them bad names, I encourage them to stay here and make my day miserable, to call in their buddies and mess us up. So I don't do that. Plus, it's not nice to call people names, not even in a space game. But yeah, this ship, really cool, a Tech 2 version of the Vexor, uses drones. Um, and it's a little bit of a different fit than usual. Oh, that one. Oh, that's cool. Oh, the website. I haven't used that one before, but I will go and check that one out. Um, it doesn't use armor. I fitted it for a shield. tell you why in a little bit. And I fitted all of this stuff with drone bonus stuff. So this is drone amplifiers, tracking enhancers, or so that the drones can track the targets better. They apply the damage better. That's kind of it. So why shield, would you say? Well, I am in Galente space. I'm shooting Serpentis enemies, uh, and the resists are for this ship. Um, the highest resist is kinetic, and then you got thermal. I think I have, yeah, so kinetic and thermal, and that's what Serpentis enemies does actually too. So it deals kinetic and thermal damage. Most of it is thermal damage that Serpentis ships does. So I'm already well equipped to deal with that kind of stuff. And then if I, oh wait, I don't even have to do this. If I turn on my Heartner, then um, then I even have even more thermal damage resistance. So I'm well equipped now to deal with these specific type of enemies here. Um, um, and I'm gonna fly really fast. I'm using a oversized propulsion module because normally you only put like a 10 mn afterburner on a cruiser, but I put 100 mn on and I can fly at like 1 kilometer a second. And why I want to do that is because I want to orbit the site at a certain range, flying really fast, and then all of these NPC enemies, they're gonna start missing my ship. They're not gonna hit it as often or as good as oh, that kind of messes with my plan to show you the combat sites. So let's try and move to a different system. Let's go back to 6 tac 4 and then just, or let's see, let's go to one of those safe spots. Yeah, I'm gonna warp to this one. I'm gonna warp
Warp
above the
drive
gate
active.
just to see if they're not there, and then I can just warp back into that system and go and try and do some stuff there. Um, so the plan is we're gonna go find a site, we're gonna warp in at a specific range, we're gonna start orbiting it, and then we have a bunch of drones here, and you just send out the drones, and they're gonna kill everything in the site basically. Even if I use like the really big heavy drones, like the wasps, they're gonna be able to shoot the folks. The NPC is really good. So okay, well I think it's people just scanning or something, but there's nobody down
Warp
below at that
drive
gate, so that's
active.
cool. I see no ships on my D scan, so safety first. Maybe there's a big fleet on the other side and I die in horrible gun battle, and then you can all laugh at me. But part of the game, right? Ah, that's good. No red people here. And we have sites here. We are going to warp in at 50 kilometers from this haven site. This is
Warp
all of
drive
these
active.
sites have like a difficulty number from 1 to 10. Serpentis Haven is a 9. I think the one above that is a Sanctum, I think, if I recall properly. I warp in at 50. It's like a trick I learned from years of doing these sites. You warp in at 50, you know, here they are. Um, and immediately I click on this pirate gate and I start orbiting at 40 kilometers, turn all the hardeners on and the propulsion module. And as you can see, ship is completely cap stable too, so that means that I'm going to be able to fly at this speed continuously, and you can already see these guys are completely missing me. So I just launched the drones. I'm going to target these cruisers first. Oh, they're sensor dampening me actually. That's really cool. I think the my wasps are already attacking the people. The yeah. Okay. Well, they're attacking already. Yeah. Good. There is a newt in system. So what we do now is I already kind of thanks for that. I'm already gonna align off. Gonna start spamming that D-scan button. I am gonna wait a little bit before my drones are back, and then I just warp to that.
Warp drive
Gonna
active.
turn my afterburn off, and I'll just sit here for a little bit. I could have already been dead, could have been, but I'm lucky today, and I warp off. That's kind of the way to do it. I'm gonna put this guy in the intel channel again. Do I have? No visual. Probably in a cloaky ship, which is good, of course, for them. Yeah. So that's kind of you can kind of do that. I'm not gonna. Yeah, probably. Cloaky Loki is really good. Tengus are um, favorable as well. Recon ships too. Recon ships are uh, cloaky Tech 2 cruisers, and you can put Sino modules on them, and I'll show that in a later class. But with that Sino module, you can kind of call in an entire fleet because they can all jump to your Sino from a different system, so that's really cool. Um, so yeah, that's basically what you can do. You can of course also fly to those mining belts, the or the mining anomalies. As you can see here there is a different mining upgrade. So we have large Bistol deposit, I think, or it's just a spawn, I don't know. But you can also fly to these. You can fly to the asteroid belts, shoot NPCs there, or just do all of the combat sites. So that's really cool. So that was kind of the. It was really short though. But the combat section. But yeah, that's kind of how you go about that. A fleet, how does that work? Well, I'm just gonna fly back. Yeah,
Warp
gonna
drive
fly back to
active.
my home system. Um, you're always in the standing fleet, or you should be in the standing fleet. I think we can kind of do that now. I think we've kind of. So you go into your standing fleet. Let's see. So, oh, these newts are still here. I hope I don't get blown up because I'm being a little bit careless
Warp drive
by
active.
just warping in here. So you go into your standing fleet, so you join that. Boom. Uh, should have done that. Sometimes Eve's a little bit finicky with fleets and joining them, or not. There we go. Yeah, there's not a whole lot of people in this standing fleet at the moment, because at the moment there is actually pretty large home defense CTA going, which I sadly would like to take you on that adventure into that fleet, but of course I can't
Docking
really do
request
that and stream it
accepted.
live. That would be not so fun for my fleet members. Um, so you're always in the home defense fleet. There's some info on the intel channels. There's a trade channel there too. The info on where to be for voice comms is there most of the time. If you set it up properly. And then if there's someone in trouble, they'll just either ping it in here, or they'll put it in this intel chat. Oh yeah, see, for now, for instance, there's 3 people in here. Goons, nice, nice. Goon people are in here, and they're, and then somebody could say in the standing fleet, okay, well, we see goon swarm people in here. Let's go in there and try and organize a defense for that or something. So then You just pick one of the many doctrine fittings that you have. So, for instance, what are we gonna grab? Yeah, oh yeah, like Hurricane Fleet issue. Most of Nullsec uses Hurricane Fleet issues as at least um, a fleet doctrine ship, and what I mean with that is everyone will be using this ship and the same fitting. It's got artillery guns, so if you fire with, I don't know, 100 of these things, you fire at the same target at the same time, it's going to do a whole lot of damage at the same time, and it will most likely, your target's going to die in 2 gun cycles if the enemy fleet is not able to repair the damage quick enough. And that's basically what you do then. So you'll go into your let's see, let me grab another Hurricane Fleet issue. So say for instance we're gonna do active PvPing now. We're not, but um, we're undocking our ships. Fleet is being called. We're in our ships that we need to be in, and we undock, and then I'll just play the. Uh, oh, no, my other guy is gonna play the fleet commander. So um, I am going to have my other guy join the standing fleet too. Let me quickly do that. Let me see, he's here. It's having the same kind of, yeah, there we go. Now he's purple. So say for instance that Neo is going to be my FC for today. So I'm on voice comms like I am with you at the moment. Um, and I'm giving commands like uh, align to this thing or target that ship or whatever. So this guy is important. So I just you can either right click him here and we're gonna add him to the watch list. I'll tell you what that is, or you can right click him there and then do the same thing. So you've added him to the watch list, and now he's got like he's in a separate window here, and now you can click here to do kind of stuff. You can say keep at range or orbit or approach or whatever, and most of the times you want to stay close together to um, your FC. So you just um, say keep at range at like 1,000 kilometers or something. Um, Turn your propulsion module on, and you know you'll let me see. You'll start flying to him. Yeah, and then you'll just most of the time you'll just fly in a straight line or whatever, and your fleet commander is positioning the entire fleet like on the battlefield and calling out targets and stuff like that. For instance, he could do um, let's see, he could broadcast me actually. So as you can see, if you look in the fleet window, you go to broadcast, and then there it is, target Serena Anderson, which is me, of course. I can't target myself, but that's the way the FC kind of goes about its thing. He can also like say broadcast a line to this asteroid belt, or he can say warp to it or something like that. Um, Other people can also, if you're like flying a healing ship. Yeah, thanks for joining. Hope you see you soon. We'll wrap up real quickly, but yeah. So you kind of stay anchored on your FC. The FC is going to give you commands and stuff like that. If you fly a um, logistics ship, which is meant to heal other players, then you can also let's see. I'll have to change my broadcast settings a little bit. There we go. Other people can also like request aid, like I need shield, or I need armor, or uh, I need capacitor, or I've spotted an enemy. You can give like these kind of basic commands, and then especially these things are really important. These shield, armor, cap, because that is a direct message to the people that are repairing other players. Like, oh shoot, this guy needs help right now, and then you can just either right click and say lock target, or you can hold your control key, click on it, and then oh well, yeah, we're tethered at the moment. Let's go off tether, and then you can just right click, hold the control key, right click him, and boom, you got him locked up, and you activate your remote shield repair stuff, and it's all good, and that's the way kind of you save people. And by looking, if you fly an offensive ship, like this thing is with your guns and stuff like that, you can just right click this and say ignore that type of broadcast because you don't need it. I don't need to know who needs shields because I won't be able to do anything about it. And then you just focus on the other things like warp to stuff, align to stuff, target stuff, and stuff will go on top of your um, list too, actually. Like, for instance, um, yeah, let me just broadcast him for a change. He gets, his name gets positioned all the way up top of the overview, and there's this icon on the back that you need to target him. So that's basically um, how that works, and then now it disappeared, so it's just there for a little while. But you can always use this broadcast window to check what all of the commands have been. So this is the page that you open then. So when you're joining your fleet, you you join the fleet. Let me unlock that thing. So you join the fleet from the fleet finder, and of course, you just click on the fleets that are available for you. Always read the message of the day. That's what this is. Most of the time, if you're like in an offensive nullsec fleet or any fleet, the important people will be listed here, like this guy. Put them to your watch list, so you can just do your stuff here or orbit or keep it range because you need to keep up the pace with staying close to your FC and stuff like that. And then you don't have to, if there's like 200 people in this list here, then you don't have to scroll down, look for him, or here in local, or even here in the really big fleet window. Like, how do you find someone? If you need to find someone quickly, you don't know. So please do this. Your FC is gonna love you for it. And just open the broadcast window and go with what is being spoken on comms, because you'll always be on comms. So that's kind of it for the nullsec fleets. There's a lot to it. Fleet mechanics in general. FTs can also warp you to certain places if you're in their squad or in their fleet. They can just warp off an entire fleet to one point in space, and everyone will follow. Really cool stuff, but we'll have to do that a different time. So to kind of wrap things up, um, Nullsec, really cool place, player owned, so you can kind of upgrade the space, make it a little bit, to your own liking. You can add more combat sites or more mining sites or whatever. It's like, you really put your flag in there. It's really like your thing. Nulls and most of the nullsec alliances are friends with the guys around them. You live in large communities there, so that's really cool. When you start up um, your day in nullsec, join the standing fleet, check if you're in your intel channel, all that kind of stuff. Be sure that you're safe. If you want to travel from one end to Nullsec to the other, please use a shuttle or one of those ships with an interdiction nullifier module attached to it because they're really cool. But shuttles are also good. There's not so many uh, smart bomb gate camps, around there in Nullsec. They are there, so it's not that it's not that you're always safe in your shuttle, but it should be relatively safer than than Lowsec because there's more smart bomb camps there. Yeah, and then just go about your day. Go about mining one of those sites. Be sure to kill the NPC enemies there. If you got a little bit beefier ships like the mining barge, you can just use those to clear the enemies. And otherwise, if you can only fly Venture or something else, please fly in a Vexor or something first. Clear all of the enemies and do that kind of stuff. And then, of course, um, if you want to shoot NPC enemies, do one of these combat sites or go to belts and shoot enemies there. There's tons of stuff, to do. And then maybe sometimes if you scan one of these cosmic signatures, you'll have a good chance of getting a higher level combat site right there too. So that's really cool. And of course, you can always find, um, you can also find gas sites, which is completely different, but you can mine that too. Some gas is also high value, so really cool stuff to mine that too. Um, so that's all good stuff. So, are there any more questions? You can just either speak up on comms, and if you don't want to do that, you can just type them in the chat. I see someone typing right here. Um, yeah, that is also really good question actually. Which factors do you consider in determining which system you want to live in? Also considering planetary industry and stuff like that. Um, you can kind of, if you're like not living in nullsec and you are like uh, just a corporation and you have like you do need to have like a certain amount of members. It differs per alliance, but if you got like 25 dudes in your corp and you're a little bit active, or you have 50 dudes in your corp, you can join like an intermediate size alliance that lives in null, and you can just look on the map and look who owns the space. And if you find a space that you want to live in, if you've been going through there and checking out the stuff that's there, and if you want to live there, just apply to either join a corporation in that alliance or have your entire corp join, and then you can start living there. And in terms of planetary industry, you can just look at the planets, and just check lava planets or whatever, and just if it's a system that you want to live in, try and join the alliance that owns the stuff, and then you can set up there. So that's kind of how you can do that. I don't have a whole lot of planetary industry up at the moment. I should do that actually because it's free money and it's good investment, and it takes less time these days. Um, I do have a couple of them. Let's see, do I have one? Oh, it's still in the space I used to live, so it's kind of far away. But yeah, you can just go about it like that. Just go through the systems. If a system appeals to you because it has 5 gas planets or whatever, or just whatever you want, just try and join the people that live there. And if it's low sec or high sec, then if it's easier to set up your stuff somewhere. If you just set it smack in the middle of somebody's nullsec space, you might get away with it a couple times to fly in there and grab the stuff that that you're building there, but eventually you want to, like really live there. If you get to Nullsec in a shuttle, how do I get my ships there in the first place? That is also a really, really good question. So, um, usually, like if people join my corp and they're pretty freshly out of their new player interaction or something, we'll have ships view available for handouts right here, we'll have like a new player package and we'll give you like a mining venture and a vexor and some stuff that you can already set up your life here, or whatever you want to do here. So then ships are already here. You can always just, once you've joined the Nullsec Alliance, you'll be friends with most of the folks here, aside from the enemies that come roaming through the system. So if you kind of ask your buddies to help you scout your hauling ship towards your nullsec base, they'll probably help you, and then you can just take a hauling ship. Like, don't take a freighter or something. Like, that's going to be, well, you can, but you'll have to have even more help, but just take your hauling ship and haul your ships to nullsec.
Docking
If
request
that's
accepted.
not an option, then you can always uh, consider asking other people for help in the sense of jump freighters, like this one. Let me come on, come on, come on. So this thing looks like an obelisk, which is the Tech 1 version of the freighter. It looks like a normal freighter, but it's not. You can kind of teleport, as it were, from one system to the next. So I don't know if it shows that on the info page. Nah, not really. But it has, you know, um, another ship can have a Sino module. I think I mentioned Sino module before, half an hour back. And that's kind of like a teleportation beacon, if you want to call it that. And then you can jump your jump freighter, which is this one, which you see at the moment. You can jump that from one section of space, maybe 20 jumps away in a completely different region. And you can't really like jump from one end of Eve to the other. That's not a thing, sadly. But you can jump multiple times in a row, and then you can go from Jeddah to, well, you won't be able to jump into that's a different story, but you can go places, and that's how you can pick up somebody's stuff. Like if it's a new member and they put everything in a courier contract, which if you courier contract is something like this. You create a courier contract, you put in a name, like for instance this one, and then you just say, I want to ship this Nubro ship and ship it to, let's say, uh, this system, and then it kind of shows you each possible option, just just gonna choose that one, and then it's gonna, you know, um, uh, it's gonna make like a package at the end, and the player that you sent the package to can pick up the package, fly to that specific station, drop it off, say, okay, I've delivered the package, and done. It's like a space UPS, something like that. So that's really cool. And then the third option is to just buy the stuff because there are markets available. And for instance, what ships are there here? Standard cruisers, Galente, Vexor. Yep, there are like 3 Vexors for sale here, and if they're not here, you can um, kind of go over there and do a whole range of stuff. You can buy all kinds of stuff, so that's also really cool. Um, That's also super good question. If you want to take a break from Eve but don't want to lose your assets in case the citadel you live in gets destroyed, what do you do? Couple things actually. You can either just have everything shipped out, which is also a thing. You can just make a courier contract from here back to HiSec to an NPC station, and then it's, safe. The other thing is that most of the times, I'm going to say most, um, because there are occasions where this will happen, but if this station, like this this beautiful Fortizar, if the game is going to show me the model, thank you. If this gets destroyed at the moment, if it would be destroyed like today, everything that I own is not going to drop into space. It's going to be put into something called asset safety, and then it's going to be delivered to the nearest other station. So if, for instance, the Fortizar dies, there's there's a couple of there's a couple of stations over there that you can see in the distance. I can have my stuff delivered to there, and then I can pick it up there at uh, I'll have to pay like a tax fee to get it back, like an in-game mechanic, but it's not going to be really bad because it's in the same system. So what happens if everything blows up? Well, then it's going to be sent to the nearest low-sec NPC station, and then the tax fees are going to be a little bit higher. Uh, for instance, if you look at the asset window, there is a asset safety option there, and then you can see everything that's in asset safety. So um, what you can also do is, for instance, I have stuff here, um, 46 jumps away, but some backwater. I don't know. I don't even have access to. Oh, it's scaling past. No, I don't live there anymore. No, no. So this is like the situation that you have lived there, you've gone AFK, and you are no longer have access to this structure because you've either moved out of the alliance or you've gone to a different alliance, and all of these structures work with access lists. And if your name or your corp or your alliance is not on the list, then tough luck, you do not have permission to dock. So your stuff is stuck there. And what do you do then? You right click, you say move all items to asset safety. Then, you get this confirmation thing. Click yes, and then you get a confirmation thing that everything that is in here is now put to asset safety. And then you can also see where it goes. So it's going to go to Podion, this system, this station, and then you can go there and collect your stuff. And you can also like choose. You can use this option to deliver to, um, but then you can only deliver it to other structures that are in HCN that you have access to. So at the moment, I don't have any access to any of the other stuff, so I won't be able to, do that. Maybe I have. Do I have some stuff here in? Let's see. Uh, this solar system. Yeah, why not? Just for the sake of education purposes, I don't have any access anymore to this system or to the system or the station. So right click it, move to asset safety. Yep. Now it's in asset safety. Let's see, it's this one. And then I can choose deliver to, and then you can see all of the other stations that I do have access to. I can deliver it in there to there in 5 days. So that's kind of how you can go about that. Now for some instances though, the stuff does drop into space. If your alliance or the person that owns this structure does not put enough fuel in it and it runs out of fuel, it goes into what we call low power mode. And you'll be able to see that visually too. The lights will dim, will become red. There's going to be um, like the billboards outside of the Fortizar are going to show low power, all that kind of visual confirmation that it's in low power. And then when it's in low power long enough, I think a week, I'm not really certain on the days, but maybe a week, then it goes in something we call abandoned mode. That means there hasn't been fuel in it for so long that it goes into a different state, which is called abandoned mode. And then, if the structure dies, then everything that anyone has ever owned and placed into this Fortizar will drop into space, just like basically any structure that dies in wormhole space. So that is the iffy part. So if you do know that you're going to take a really big break from Eve, and you don't know when you're coming back, then probably it's better to either have people ship out the things already for you or do it yourself. You move all your stuff out to HiSec, whatever, you can do that, or use that asset safety thing. So kind of there's options. Um, it works that way in HiSec and LowSec too, by the way. If you have your stuff in a structure that goes into low power mode and then abandoned mode, get it out there as soon as possible, because if then the structure dies, then it's all up for grabs. It's part of the loot, and everything will be taken. Um, yeah, you are all very welcome. Are there more questions? I know we've kind of doubled up on our time. Apologies for that. But it was a really, I had really good questions today, so thank you for that. Really, really interesting stuff that you guys wanted to know. So if if you still want to ask something, please do. Um, there is going to be another, yeah, you're welcome. There's going to be another class in 2 weeks. This has also all been recorded, and I'll stop that recording for now, and I'll already thank you for your time.